Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond the Pulpit podcast, episode 38. I'm your new host. My name is Silas Otieno. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you are tuning in just to see us produce this amazing content. Before we do that, we'd like to invite you to join us. And for all your furniture needs, we have an amazing studio, a studio that has been well prepared by a company called Hodari Carpentry and Fabrication. So if you have any furniture needs and anything that you would need to get from us, you can hit us up with the number that is on your screen, and we'll sort you out. But I don't have much to say about this. But today I'm very amazed and I'm very happy to be hosting someone that I've really admired over the years. He is the chairman of the KBA group of schools, an amazing individual that we've had the privilege to sit in the same board. He is a person I have seen make decisions, difficult decisions, but somehow he manages to get them right. And that is something that has really impressed me. His name is Dr. Moses Mwangi, and I know he's going to introduce himself. So I would like to request you to sit back and just enjoy this episode as we talk about the growth of this school, the business of school, and everything. Karibu, Dr. Mwangi. You can introduce yourself once again. I know we've hosted you a while before.
Thank you, my brother Silas. And I greet all those who are listening to us wherever you are. It may be good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for inviting me. As you've been told, my name is Dr. Moses Mwangi. I am privileged to wear many hats. In that I studied in the School of Pharmacy of the University of Nairobi. That's why I'm Dr. Moses Mwangi. And I'm currently the chairman of the University of Nairobi's Pharmacy Alumni Association. And I also got the opportunity when I left university to settle at Kahawa West. And I joined a small congregation then called Kahawa West Baptist Church, where I now serve as an associate pastor. So sometimes I will wear the cap of a pastor, and I'm Reverend Dr. Moses Mwangi. And while I have been here, I was privileged to chair the growth and see the growth of the church. Very early days, when I was 29 years old, I was the chairman of council, and that church has grown to where it is now, to the point that we now have Maziwa Baptist Church, among others. And in the course of my journey as the chair of the local church council, 1991, we began the KBA School. And we began the KBA School first as a nursery school, and later on transitioned to primary, and now we are in junior secondary. And January 2027, we will welcome our first class of senior school. So I'm privileged to be in that space, and I'm very passionate about three things. One, I'm very passionate about my relationship with God. And two, I'm passionate about health. And three, I'm passionate about education. I've been involved not only in the KBA school, but in many schools. In my village, I took up a school that had only 237 boys and girls in secondary. And by the time I left 3 years ago, we had two schools, Kaharo girls, Kaharo boys. And in that community, then I played my role to transform the place. I have served on the boards of many schools, the Muru Girls. I've served on the board of Bishop Mahani Academy. I've served on the board of Ishagaki Boys. I've served on the board of Mount Mary University. But here in KBA School, I began the school. or rather the school began when I was council chair. And after many years, 2000, I took up as a chair, a school that had only 82 pupils. And the church was thinking this school is becoming a drain. I remember chairing a council, and except two of us, the rest of the council said, close the school. You cannot be using tithes and offerings to pay salaries. And I requested the church, let me go and see. And here we are, many years down the line. We have a serious business where we have 3,400 children. If you multiply that with the number of parents and guardians, currently we are talking about well over 10,000 community who we currently serve. That is not counting those who have gone through our school. And it's a ministry that is impacting lives, is impacting society, and that is part of our vision.
Thank you so much, Daktari. And even before we go to the school, I can tell you this. I don't believe in flattery. So what I'm telling you is the truth, and I believe in this as the truth. I have studied you so much. I have observed you. I have observed your leadership. I have seen you under pressure. And one thing I can say about you that I have never seen you cave under pressure. I have never personally seen you angry. And even if you are or maybe disappointed, I have never seen you show it. And that has been very amazing to me. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I do the 48 laws of power.
Okay.
And when I study those laws of power, one of the most significant things that is said there is the ability to control your emotions. Before we get to the school part of it, how is it that you stay unmoved and you stay calm under pressure? How did you be able to manage this? I have seen you in tough times.
By the grace of God. By the grace of God, let's say, I think I figured out what I wanted to do early in life.
Yeah.
I've been a leader. Right from my high school days, when I was in Form 3. I was a key holder.
Okay.
I was holding the key to the dormitory. That's where it begins.
Okay.
And then I became a dorm prefect.
Okay.
And then I became a house captain, right in high school at Alliance. And while I was there, I was champion of lawn tennis. At one point, I was number 6 in Kenya.
Okay.
Yesterday, the US Open was just done. I follow very closely. So, and one of the things you get to learn in sports is to be disciplined.
Okay.
When you play lawn tennis, you have an opponent and you sweat it out. Okay. After you are done, the rule requires that you go to the net and you greet each other.
Okay.
And you walk out. That is the rule of lawn tennis. Yeah. So that teaches you a way of respecting your opponents and knowing that they have something to play. You get angry when you're playing, and you realize when you get angry, that's when you hit the ball out. So if you lose one ace, as I call it, you go to the next and serve and move. So I think through that, and then when I was in university, I was also in leadership. I was in Christian Union leadership. When I was in second year, I was the vice chair of the Nairobi University Pharmacy Students Association, right in second year. So by the time I am becoming even, I'm getting out of university, I have been in leadership. In my local church where I grew up, I was the chairman of the youth for 10 years.
Okay.
And I'm very happy because when I look back, many of the young people then, when I was chair, they became great men and women, both in the church, in society. Some of them became members of parliament, others are bishops. And this experience of leadership, you get to understand that the person who may oppose you or have a different view, they are not your enemy. In fact, I have come to the point of appreciating that you need people in a leadership group who have strong views that are opposite what you hold. They bring out the better part of you. I've learned that those cannot be treated as enemies. They are compatriots, because there's a way in which we are all made. So when I am doing what I'm doing, irrespective of where it is, yes, I know where I want to go, but I also must understand that there are people around, some of whom, like the Sanballats and Tobias, when Nehemiah was rebuilding the wall, they are there and they are discouraging you. They are telling you that what you're doing, even the foxes can jump over it, you know. So and who really wants to deal with an angry man? You know, the moments you become angry, especially when you're in a board meeting or you are doing a project, the moments you become angry, you become irrational. And your point of view then doesn't matter, because you will speak it in anger. And in life, even in my own personal life, in raising families, and I think I want to say this, when you get married, you marry the opposite of you. You know, in science they say like repel. if you bring magnets, like repels, but the opposite attracts. So you marry the opposite set of you, and you have got to understand that is why you got attracted to that person. And even though they not always agree with you, eventually you get to see that they make you a better version. So I'm not afraid of opposition. I'm not afraid of people who have different views. Listen to them. You know, even the frog has something to say. The singing birds bring the best in nature. But even the frog, if you listen to it, that noise makes the music in nature great.
That's amazing. And I can really testify that this is something that happens. So even whenever there is a difficult issue, I look at you and I wait to hear what you will say. And part of those things that I have learned, I have implemented even in where I work. When I get into a boardroom setup, even with my boss, and we disagree, I listen. The question that I usually ask myself is, why does this person take this view? And I get very curious about them. And I've found out that sometimes I have been wrong in the things that I want to give as a solution to a problem or a direction. And from listening to these people and not taking it personally when somebody opposes me, I have learned to make better decisions, and I've come out to see decisions made in a very good way. But that is just Dr. Mwangi. And
maybe before, let me just peep in there and say, I was privileged to work in a space. I was regional director of the then world #1 vaccine company in charge of 9 countries. I attended many meetings in different places in the world. At some point, I was the only Black person. In meetings looking at global business in pharmaceuticals, in vaccines. And there's something I learned from one of my managers. He was in charge of Africa, and I was in charge of Eastern Africa. And whenever he would bring something I learned, which I have kept on, that he told me, if you and I have the same opinion about the same thing, one of us is not needed.
Okay.
So I have learned, really, even in management and in what I do with the managers that I work with, I have to appreciate that they can have a different view,
Okay.
and they don't have to have the view I have.
Mhm.
And if you're working with your boss, always remember that if you and your boss have exactly the same view about the same thing, why do you need both of you? One of
Exactly.
you has no role.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Now, switching back to KBA School, we will run some small videos to show a bit of how KBA School looks. An amazing, amazing place. So we will do this as we are doing this episode.
Okay.
I want to ask, nothing, it didn't just appear out of nowhere and became what it is today. How did KBA School start? How did it start?
1991. 1991, I became chair of that a small fledgling church in 1989, purely by default, because I was a young man. I left university in 1987. I joined this church. It had probably 15 people and 30 or 40 children. And then 2 years later, I am the chairman. There was a missionary, a man I really remember, may his soul rest in peace, Laura and J. Stewart. He was the director of Baptist publications that are in Ruaraka. And he went on holiday. They call it furlough. He went on furlough in America. And when he went, I was requested to be the acting chair. And he was away for 3 or 4 months. When he came back, he found the church had grown beyond where he left. And he said he would not like to be chairman again. And I became chairman.
Okay.
I never even thought about it, you know. And 1991, we started the KBA School. During that period, when I was chair, 3 years chair, and we were being elected every year, I asked myself, reflecting back when the missionaries brought Christianity to Africa, they came with the Bible on one hand, education on the other, and behind was health.
Okay.
But education and the Bible, Christianity, were hand in hand. And you can understand the logic that how do people get to understand the word of God if they don't know how to read? And so education, many of the schools in Kenya, even today, high schools, the best high schools you can find, primary schools, were started by missionaries. Now here we are a church, and God blessed us with very early the property that we are in. That I just found that somebody who was really key, Mr. Stephen Kabutu, they had been able to struggle and get 1 acre of land. And the question I asked myself and I asked the council, what else can we do to impact this community? And because I'm a doctor in the health sector, quickly they thought, why don't we start a hospital?
Okay.
And we processed the conversation, and then, you know, by then, mission hospitals were collapsing because mission hospitals were having difficulties. The government was withdrawing the support, and I told the council, I think it would be a drain to run a hospital. Why don't we do school? It can also impact. So it's really the Bible, education, health. So we say, let's start with education. We can come back to health later. So we started the primary school, a nursery school. We had put up a building to do Sunday school, children.
Okay.
This building is idle.
Okay.
Between Monday and Friday. We only use it on Saturday. So he said, why don't we use this building to do a nursery? And that's how it started. The other thing is that time Nairobi was growing quickly. Schools, the area of Kahawa West, the best nursery school, for example, my own son, David, who was a pioneer, they would have needed to go into a Kenya bus and go all the way to Muthaiga, which is quite away. Those days, the Kenya bus did not use, they had a pass for children.
Okay.
But I say to myself, is that right? Why don't we use these buildings? So we started, and we ran a nursery because we had no intention of going to primary. We ran it 91 to 96. So the children would reach, they would be with us for 3 years, and then they proceed to what was then Standard 1 in a public school around. And by the way, by that time, private schools in primary school was not the in thing. The way today, even today in Kenya, private high school is not the in thing.
Yeah.
Children want to go to the best national school, Alliance, Mangu, Kenya High. That is the psyche in the people. So it was the same for primary schools. So therefore, its parents who then came back and told us, look, you are taking our children for 3 years. You are getting them to a level. Then they go to a public primary school, and they are already at a very high level. After 1 year, it's like they are going down. Why don't you start a primary school for us? And we wrestled over that because it's not something we had thought about. But finally, in 1997, we transitioned to Standard 1, purely to respond to the need of parents, if you may. If you may, we responded, and we didn't have resources, so we began, that is when we began now to move out of the block for Sunday school, now to have a classroom for Standard 1. And we didn't have money. I remember putting up that one class. We had to do what in Kenya we call a harambe. I had to find a guest of honor. We did a harambe, and the money was not enough to do the slab after we have done the walls. But anyway, finally, we had, by January 1997, we had a classroom, one classroom only. So we did that. Then the following year, we did another class. And we were doing one class per year. But now, after we had done 3 classes, it didn't look very good, especially in terms of architecture and all that. So we said, now we need to do several classes together. And that's how we began this, the block called Stephen Kabutu Tuition Block. The first floor was the first one when we did 3 classes at a go. And so that's how we grew. But school is not classrooms.
Yeah.
School is pupils. I remember our teachers, and some of them are still with us. To get pupils, they had to walk around the estate. Would buy them some nice branded coats.
Okay.
And they walk around the estate, meeting parents, greeting children, and saying the parent, why don't you give us your child? And they would engage. So the first days about getting children were not easy. We had to walk around. And remember, we also have a church. And the church has people.
Yeah.
And this is a new school. One of the most disappointing things for me, or is it challenging, is that at a time when we were struggling, many of our members did not believe in our school. There were better schools.
Yeah.
And there you are. I remember by the time I took up the chairmanship of the school in the year 2000, that's the time the council wanted to close the school. I remember one of the most challenging things is to know that in my council and in the leadership, we have people who have children. These children are in other schools. They could be in our school so that we could have enough revenue to pay the bills, and we are having to go back to the church tithes and offering, and it is, everybody agrees it is wrong.
Yeah.
And some of them are the ones shooting this. So, but anyway, you have to understand that every person is an individual, and we all need the best for our children.
Yeah.
So the KBA school had first of all to prove to the founder, the church, that it is a genuine school. And that's why in 2001, we started what we call the KBA School Sunday. And the KBA School Sunday, the design of that was for the KBA school to run a service once a term, to bring children so that they can, the congregation can see that there is a serious school here. And we ran a KBA School Sunday every term from 2001 for almost 7 years. Every time you can talk about 3 KBA School Sundays in a year.
Mm.
And what is the goal? To convince the congregation, some of whom had children in other schools, that there's a serious school. So one of the challenge of having a startup, because that's a startup, is to convince anybody that you are serious with what you are doing.
Yeah.
And as I say, if I cannot sell something to myself, for example, for me, my children had to come to this school. My son was in the pioneer group. My next daughter came the second year. And I told myself, if I cannot trust myself, how do other people trust me with their children? For me, that was very fundamental.
Mm.
And thanks be to God, after many years, now we don't have to sell the KBA school to the church.
Yeah.
I think within 5 years, by the year 2005 is when we presented the first cohort for KCPE. And the children did very well. I remember our first child then was admitted to one of the most prestigious schools. It was not a national school, but it was a prestigious school, Jiri's Boys.
Okay.
And that young man, who was also a young child and became a youth in the church, actually he went on to become a youth chair. People said, oh, this boy and others went to very good schools. So in a way, we managed, through the KBA School Sunday, we managed to convince the Jerusalem community that we have a serious thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So, how was the name KBA chosen? Or is it a random name? How do you come to KBA? And what does KBA represent, by the way?
So the KBA school is our name. And when somebody say, what does KBA mean? I ask you, what is your name? That is our name.
Okay.
We are the KBA school.
Mm-hmm.
But just for historical perspective, up until 2004, from 1991, we were Kahawa Baptist Academy. Then in 2004, we had to go and officially register as a KCP center. And it was quite a difficult journey. So we had to register the school. And registering schools in Kenya for legal purposes, I tell you, it is very difficult now. It was very difficult then. Because once you get to the Ministry of Education, there are very many processes. They have to come and inspect you. They have to, so the public health has to come and inspect you, and they have to check where the doors are opening. They have to check who have you employed. But actually, we did all that and we passed. By then, you needed to have 5 acres of land. Those days, if you had a school in Nairobi, the only school that could be registered is the one that has at least 5 acres of land. Why? Because the Minister of Education required that there must be a field where children can play. And here we were in 1 acre. So that was the first hurdle. And you discover that it is November 2004. March 2005, you must register your children for the national examination, KCPE. It was a very stressful moment. So we managed to get, there's someone who I really, really respect and honor. One of the women who had been our member in the very early days, and whose daughter, Jennifer, went on to become one of our most active young person. She's now in America with her family. So here I am. We don't have 5 acres. What do we do? I can tell you a lot of agony. This is agony that many people don't even know. And then somebody said, I got to learn that you can get somebody to give you their land, and that land, provided it is near the school, could be acceptable. So we went and saw this lady, Mama Jennifer, and I really removed my heart to her. She gave us 5 acres of land. And what I mean by giving, we had a power of attorney, of ownership.
Okay.
So that power of attorney, of ownership, is what we presented document to the Minister of Education. And of course, this is person who trusts you, that even though they have given you the power of attorney for the land, you will not decide that it is your land.
Yeah.
So it was very helpful. Today, Nairobi, the Minister of Education changed things. Now you don't need 5 acres to register a school. It was a difficult thing. So the last hurdle in that process, we were told, you must go to the AG, get a business name, then come back to the Minister of Education where the file has reached, because you must have registration certificate from the registrar of companies. So we went there, and then the registrar told us there was a rule by the government that you cannot register a name that has religious connotation.
Oh, okay.
So, because Kahawa Baptist, so you can't register the word Baptist.
Okay.
Oh, this time the children have been graduating from PP2 singing Kahawa Baptist shule yangu milele. So what happens? We were stranded, and the registrar stuck to her guns. I got a lawyer to try and persuade. We said the other schools we know, they are called by that time there was Thika Christian School, there were others, Muslim. So why not Baptist? At some point then, we went with our lawyer to the registrar and persuaded her. Can we register, instead of Kahawa Baptist Academy, can we register KBA School? And then she said, what does KBA mean? Then he said, by then there was a bank called KCB. So there's a bank called KCB.
Yeah.
Which is no longer means Kenya Commercial Bank, because you can't have a Kenya Commercial Bank in Dar es Salaam.
Okay. Understood.
we persuaded her and she accepted. And I can tell you that night I slept like a baby.
Okay.
We had solved a problem. It came like that. And you know what? So that's how we became KBA School. Later on, when I look back, I think it was God was working something.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time, and even today, when children go to high school, to Form 1, to national schools and other schools, especially to district schools or county schools today, if you come from an academy, those children, the teachers tend to have an attitude towards them
Okay.
because they are very confident. Their confidence is misinterpreted to mean arrogance.
Ah.
And it is
Okay.
something I have seen it. I was a board member in KBA Girls for some time, and I remember as a board member, children being brought for discipline, and the principal wants us to set them away. And I listened to these children, and I asked, "What is wrong with these children?" And I could only see their only mistake is that they are confident. So that discrimination of academies, children, I later found, I think it was God working.
Yeah.
Our school is called the KBA School. Before you can call it an academy.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I don't like us being called KBA. I say we are the KBA School.
Okay.
That is our name. But that's how it came about. So today we are the KBA School. It doesn't mean Kahawa Baptist Academy. It means the KBA School.
Understood. I'm also one of those people who thought it is an acronym, but now I get it's just a full name the way it is.
Yes.
So, what is the mission and vision of the school, and how did it come about?
Our vision is our vision is to prepare children. It's based on the fact that we are a Christian institution. We are preparing children to impact society. So our vision is to provide quality formal education underpinned on sound Christian values.
Okay.
Provide quality, and it is formal. We are a formal school. You know, they are informal schools.
Yeah.
Quality formal education underpinned on sound Christian values. So we must see our children, not today, but 20 years, 30 years down the line, what is built into them. Is there something Christian about them? Because there are schools that are said to be Christian. We want to see it in the life of our children as they impact society. How did it come about? It's just a question of the vision came much later. When we started, we started as a nursery, and then pressure from parents, primary. But now over time, because we were very serious, we have a very serious program on Christian values. So that eventually the vision came about as we were along the way.
Okay.
And the mission is to provide an enabling environment where learners may know and experience God as they acquire quality formal education that is provided by highly empowered, God-fearing staff. So in our mission, it's very important that the children have an enabling environment. It's very important that the staff themselves work in an environment where their professionalism can be seen, they can make a contribution. So The environment is very, very important, both for the learner and for the staff, because they are the ones to provide that enablement. And therefore, as a board, we have to give our staff the opportunity, because they are the teachers, or they are the cooks, or they are the drivers, a platform. And then, so that's the mission we are on. We are on a mission to make sure that the environment where our children learn is good. It's a Christian environment. The teacher delivers quality formal education. And these staff, we have a program for them to make sure that they understand, okay, when they come to us, they have a P1, a certificate in education. For primary school, they have a degree. For junior secondary school, they are qualified. And we started that very early. We require that they should be born-again believers. But we can't get enough born-again believers from the Baptist church or from our church. So we get them from anywhere. We don't discriminate. But then, do they understand that which they believe? So that this teacher is able now to not only deliver quality formal education, mathematics, science, but to also now provide that enabling environment. We have to train them, and then sound Christian values we have to work. So we have a discipleship program for teachers and for staff.
Yeah, amazing. Now, after establishing the first campus, and you have given us a bit of history about it.
Yes.
What were the earliest signs that KBA was destined to grow? And this, I would like you to even broaden it a little bit. For someone out there who has been thinking of starting a school, what are the signs that you should continue? What are the signs that you should stop? Or should you ever stop?
Any business has got a growth curve. Just like when a child is born, they have a growth curve. When I was in primary school, when we started learning biology, I still remember in our classrooms how we planted the seeds, and we saw the plants grow, and we were measuring how they are growing. There's something we call a growth curve. It's a sigmoid curve. It has a lag phase, it has a log phase, and it has a stationary phase or maturity phase. So when you start in a business, and the KBA School is a business, it's a ministry. Yes, the KBA School is the education ministry of Kahawa West Baptist Church. But essentially, it's a business.
It is.
It's a business. So once we began the school, I tell you, by the year 2000, we wanted to close it. Okay. The church council wanted to close it, but one or two of us said no. And I requested the church. I was elected to chair the council, and I had been chairman for 10 years. And I pleaded with the members, please allow me to go and work on the school so that we see whether we can, before we close, let me go there. And we went there. By then, there were 82 kids. This is from 1991 to the year 2000. You have 82 children, spanning from playgroup to standard 3. And at that point, you can't even afford a head teacher. So you are still using the nursery school teachers. I remember one of the teachers who was the senior teacher then overseeing the school up to standard 3 when I took up. So at that point, it's struggling. If we had actually gone with common thinking, we would have closed that school.
Okay.
Because it was a drain on the church resources.
Okay.
But I sat there and I said, look, we began this. We have to make it work. And in a business that you begin, you have to be sure that you are serious with what we are doing. Were we serious with when we decided to start the school? And I remember Mr. Stephen Kabutu, when the council discussed to start the school and they were not agreed, and he was very passionate about it. In the evening, he came to my house I was living in Kahawa West Estate then, and he told me, chairman, we need to start this school. I told him, Brother Stephen, we don't have money even to buy chairs. And he told me, is it because of chairs? I will buy chairs. And that man, with his own money, he bought chairs and he bought tables to start the first class. And we never refunded him. So now that we had agreed, Stephen and I had agreed, and we were walking, now I was still the chair. We had to go. So we had the KBA School Sunday. When we hit, I remember announcing in the church, we are 82 children. We need 100 children next year. And one of the prayer items in the church, we usually pray when we are, one of the prayer item was to pray for 100 children. And it took 2 years from the time I became chairman to hit 100.
Okay.
After we hit 100, we celebrated. I remember standing in front of the church and saying, let's celebrate. We are now 112. And 1 year later, we moved to 300.
Oh, okay.
3 years later, we hit 500. Now, by the time we now hit 500, and we had now started what we call the KBA School Sunday. And during the KBA School Sunday, the church would be full because the parents would come and the children are there. So now, by the year 2005, when we presented the first KCPE, and our children did very well. For me, by that time, I knew this school is now destined for greatness. But it had been many years. So when you start a business, I think you need to hang in there long enough.
Okay.
Some people rush to stop. If you are doing a business to fulfill a need, had we seen a need? Yes. There was a need for a school where children who are from families that love God, that are Christians. Education has become very secular in Kenya. In the first time when the missionaries came, the missionaries have what we call denomination-sponsored schools. You'll have schools sponsored by a church. But over time, the clergy left the schools to be run by teachers without any spiritual program. There are very few schools. They are still there. If you go to some of the Catholic schools in high school, you still find that the priest is involved in the life of that school. And that's very good. The school I went to, we went to the chapel every day. And I said to myself, it's possible. So the need was there. There was a need for strong Christian foundation. And because the Bible I read says that we shall be the heads and not the tail, our children can be well founded in the gospel and also perform very well. And I think we proved the concept by 2005 when we delivered the first KCP candidates. After that, within a very short time, by the time now we were coming to 2007, 2008, 2009, the KBA School Kahawa West was full. We had no space. We needed to build. We didn't have as much money, and we had never borrowed any money from a bank.
Yeah.
We were investing what we were saving. So for us to grow, we had to look at the shillings and the cents. Budgeting was part of the culture of the KBA School right from the start. By the way, when I became chairman of Kahawa West Baptist Church in 1989, in 1990, we audited the books of the church. And I said, look, for me, it's very important to audit what you do. So Kahawa West Baptist Church, we started auditing our books in 1990. At that time, we would find a member of the church who is not in the council, but is a qualified accountant auditor to audit the books. We brought that culture to the KBA school. So by the year 2007, the school is full, but we still have space. And we put up now what we call, we started the putting up what we call the Deacon Anthony complex, the multi-purpose complex, it was called by then, which is now a big, is fully complete.
We'll show it, by the way. We'll show it as you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took us several years, but, and we were using our own money. You know, by then we are still thinking very church. We are not still thinking business.
Yeah.
It was not until 2015 when now we did what we can call a strategic plan. And I was now thinking about KBA group of schools. And I was saying, look, KBA school is a very well-known brand. The school is full. What are we going to do? We were having parents who want space, but there were interviews, very serious interviews for children to join. Can you imagine telling a child you can't join because you didn't hit the mark? But we had to do that. And in my mind, I was saying, this is wrong. These children who are doing interview in standard 3 or in standard 2, these are children, we can shape them. Yet, because we don't have enough space, we have to find a way of getting some in and some out. And that was really disturbing me. And that is how now the idea of a second campus came. But now that second campus was our very first time now to go to a bank and borrow money, because we bought a going concern, a school that had been started, that a bank was going to auction it because they didn't have they didn't have enough revenue. And I remember when we thought about that, it was even difficult to share in the board.
Yeah.
3 of us had to brood over this. And again, when you're starting something, it's good to think about incubation. Sometimes you need to incubate. We had to incubate this idea. There is a school that we can buy. It's going to cost us 75 million shillings. We can only find this kind of money from a bank.
Yeah.
We have never borrowed money. But we did a 5-year plan that when I shared with our bank, they said, because now we had proved over years, we had been banking with that bank, they said, yes, we can give you money. Oh, you can give us money. So by the time now we have cleaned up and we know that we can get money, we have a plan that the bank can see this plan is gonna pay. Then there's a school. I remember sitting in the board and even in the church board and describing to them a school that is within 3 kilometers away we are going to buy, but not disclosing exactly where the school is, because I had a fear that if other people get to hear, somebody could go ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I know some of my colleagues who are not very happy.
Yeah.
But I think we must also appreciate that Jesus Christ had John, Peter, and James, who he used to go
in a circle.
Sometimes you have to have that kind of a conversation, and when you have proved the concept. But nevertheless, I really appreciate the KBA school board then, and also the pastors and deacons board then, because when I insisted, they just allow us to get a loan, to approve a loan, they will be happy, but allow me not to say exactly what is this school, without clearly telling them that I'm not sure that some of you will not disclose
Yeah.
to other people. It was a very difficult conversation, but I really appreciate because finally, when they saw it, they were very happy.
Yeah.
And so, when did we see we were going far? 2005, and then 2007 when the school was full, and then now when we talked to a bank and the banks said we could borrow 75 million. And by the way, we have been able now to pay that money off. In fact, the projection I had, or we had, the number of people who get in 5 years to have funded the growth and pay the loan, the number of people we planned in 5 years, we got it in 2 years. By the end of the second
Amazing.
year, our revenue was such that it was not only paying the loan, but we had money to build.
Amazing.
And that is how we have been paying loans and building infrastructure without needing to borrow again. We only now had to borrow again to buy the property that we are going to build the senior school.
So before we go to the, I would like you, I would give you, I would like you to compare the 844 and the CBC and the transition. But before we get there, I'm in business school and I'm now in second year, and majoring on HR, human resource. And one of the things that I've been taught in school is that human resource is one of your most important resource of any business. You might have very good buildings, you might have very good resources, but if you don't have the right people to run these resources, then you're doomed. You're still doomed as though you never had these resources. Now, how do you know? Because the reason why I'm saying this is I've had the privilege of seeing you pick up people and put them in the right place. You take this guy, this is the head teacher, this one is human resource. How do you manage? How do you know where to put someone, and what do you look for in someone that you would be interested to work with, especially in the school setup?
One of the privileges I have had, as I mentioned earlier, in my own professional life, as a pharmacist, I started up in hospital. My first job, I was in charge of a big district, and I didn't know what a local purchase order was, LPO. And I'm in charge. I got to learn the hard way. And by the way, that experience as a young pharmacist, not knowing what a requisition is and making some mistakes in the early days, made me later on to go back to the School of Medicine and to propose to the dean that we need to introduce some courses for medical students, pharmacy students, to learn some business. So that exposure, and then I grew from being a company pharmacist. I was sales and marketing manager, so I've managed teams, and I rose to the top, being in charge of 9 countries. So during that period, I attended very many courses, training on human resource for non-human resource managers, finance for non-finance manager, because I'm in charge of a big team. And so I got to learn quite a number of things about the value of people. And one of the joy I have myself is I had the joy of picking a young pharmacist straight from college and train them and see them become. And some of them went on. Even today, they say how much I nurtured them. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest challenge I had in my company, where I was the regional director, we didn't pay the higher salaries, but our people never left. I kept a team, because a team is the one that gives you result. And it's not about the money you pay them. Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody needs money. After basic hygiene, there are certain basic hygienes. Once you have made the basic hygiene, the other things that make people stay in a work environment is the culture, the kind of environment, the relationships. And we created in Sanofi Pasture a kind of a family relationship. I would have lunch with my team every month. All of them will have lunch. build those relationships beyond the workplace. So, and then later on, I went to school. I did a master's in business administration. Just to, you can be a manager. You can even know what to do where you are, but you cannot convince people out there that you know. So I had to go back to school and study master's in business administration, and now combine that with the learning. So even as I ran KBA School, I have tapped from very much high up there, and I know that people make the difference. Very early, we introduced here in the KBA School performance management appraisals. So every year, we appraise people, and we have improved this over time. And I tell my managers or my teachers, those who are in charge, we have divided the school into smaller bits. I know Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. And even in HR management, there's something we call the span of control.
Yeah.
So you must have the right number. A manager must have the right number of people who they can manage. And in that way, you are able to spot who is doing what. And as chairman, even today, I am the top HR manager.
Yeah.
We have 262 staff members. 70% are teachers, 30% are non-teaching. Except now in the last 2 years, because I now have what I can call a well-trained human resource manager. So now, until 2-3 years ago, I review every appraisal that is done. And if it is not done well, I will tell whoever has, are you trying to give this guy marks so that he can get a pay rise? Appraisals is not a question of pay rise. It's a question of identifying talent, knowing where somebody needs training to become better. So in the process, I am hands-on. So I know my staff. I know my senior teachers. I know teachers who are performing. So when you have those kind of people, I tell you the truth. If you don't take care of them, they'll go. Okay. So sometimes, like my current head teacher in KBA School, Kahawa West, I had a good head teacher. This guy was deputy. He's done a degree. He's finishing a master's. He's deputy. What do you do with this guy so that he stays?
Yeah.
I created a position called academic dean. When we got a new school, I said, you oversee the academics. So you deputy head teacher, but also academic dean. I tell you the truth, that position does not exist. But I gave it to this guy to give him motivation to stay.
Yeah.
And then when my head teacher, who was quite good, left for other things, he stayed on.
Yeah.
And you'll find that, like, my head teacher in KBA School, Kahawa West, has been here 19 years.
Wow.
The one in Maziwa has been here 18 years. So started off, my head teacher in Kahawa West came straight from college. I personally believe in hiring fresh people.
Okay.
People who don't have a lot of experience. People who have not learned bad habits. Because I believe we can train them.
Yeah.
Even in the church environment, I say to myself, I know there are people who like to get people who are very experienced. I said, can't you trust yourself to get a good guy from college, nurture them, and they remember? So one of our values in the KBA School, we want to be the best Christian school in Kenya. Being the best, what does that mean? It means attracting and retaining the best workers. Attracting and retaining the best pupils. At one time, we had a problem We would have children go to standard 4, standard 5, and many parents wants to take them to boarding. And you lose your best children, they go to boarding. So at standard 8, then you don't shoot for the stars. And we had to look at it. How do we address this? You don't want to lose your best children. I remember once one of our best students left, and he then became the top student in Kenya.
Oh,
But not in KBA School.
okay.
So to do that, we had to create. We have a senior teacher for preschool, senior teacher for lower primary. We had to create a section we were calling middle upper, standard 4 and 5. And what was the purpose of this? The senior teacher, very clearly. Can we work with the parents so that they agree not to take their children to boarding? And it worked. The first class, and my senior teacher, the parents came and they discussed and they agreed. We are not going to take our children to boarding.
Okay.
And those children, when they now went to standard 8, the results they gave us just made everybody believe you don't have to take your child to boarding.
Okay.
So attracting and retaining the best people, and then the people that you retain, you have to do something for them. You have to pay them well, number one. You have to train them. So we also send them to training. We identify courses. Just this last month, all our managers have gone through a human resource for non-human resource managers. A 3-day course. We hired top consultants in human resource management. They were with them for 3 days. And then all the staff, each school had a whole day to learn. Why? Because I want us to improve our performance management system. I believe in engaging the people having a goal. If you have objectives, management by objectives. But to get management by objectives, the manager needs to understand. Not only the manager, but also the staff. So, and we have trained everyone, from assistant teachers, from housekeeping, kitchen, everyone. We don't leave anybody behind. And even when we provide what we call benefits, like we have a benefit of pension, we have a benefit of medical, besides what the Kenyans call SHA. We have a benefit for medical for all our staff with a private insurance. We give it to all our staff. And I know some organizations like top managers, you get this, and the lower managers, you get this. I am a believer, if it is medical, the person at the bottom of, the shop floor person who has a family, when they are sick, they need management as much as the top guy.
Yeah.
So this kind of, I believe, when you do HR, there is something we call equity. It's a value.
Yeah.
I believe in equity, so that, and here in KBA School, we don't have a term subordinate.
Yeah,
I've
heard you say that many times.
Subordinate. We have nobody is subordinate to another.
Yeah.
We have teaching and non-teaching. They are all equal. Nobody, that terminology, the colonialists brought us some interesting words: subordinate, peasant. I interview people and you ask them, so introduce yourself. What do your parents do? I hear somebody say, my parents are peasants. When I was in standard 7, I was very good in English. My head The headmaster of my primary school was our English teacher, and I was a good composition writer. I had a big argument and said, "What is peasants?" And I said, "No, my father is not a peasant farmer." I was in 97. There's something called subsistence. So why don't you say your parents, your father, and is a subsistence farmer,
Yeah.
as opposed to commercial farmer?
Yeah.
Or why not simply say my father
He's
is a farmer?
Exactly.
You know, this
Exactly.
colonial. So subordinate, we have no subordinate in KBA school.
Yeah.
We have teaching and non-teaching staff.
And let me tell you about this. I have reeled that in our organization.
Okay.
In those exact words that you're saying, because I heard it from you, and I have told them that we all view our staff in the exact same way, and we try as much as possible to also give them something that equity. And by the way, I'm doing business administration and management. It's still the same course.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm second year, planning to go all the way to masters in the same.
Wonderful.
And you are the one who told me to go and do it.
Thank you.
One Sunday we were seated there, and I told you I've been doing some small courses here, and you told me I needed to go to school, and so I obeyed that and went. Now, as we get to the tail end of our interview, I would like us to talk about the 844 system, how you saw it, how it was. Then we transition to the CBC system, and what is the role of the government in all this. And if you are in a position, let's say, for example, if you are the CS of education, what would you do in our current education system to make it better?
Actually, the education system in Kenya is currently in a crisis. If you pick a newspaper today, every day, this last 3 weeks, you are likely to see some pictures of students who have performed very well in foreign external examinations.
Okay.
Examinations offered for GCE, offered by UK-based examination boards. You will see the photos of children and the names of the school. Right now, the crisis we have is that people who are in middle class are having to make a decision to put their children in schools who are offering foreign-based programs. There's an explosion of that. It was always there. There were always schools that are offering foreign-based examinations, but there's currently an explosion happening here in Kenya. And that's a new business frontier. And I can tell you, it has also crossed my mind now in the KBA school, whether it's something we can think about. Okay. And why is it going that way? I think it is very important for us, and here in KBA school, even though we transition to CBC, and by the way, CBC, as envisioned, is a very good curriculum, very good. The children we have, because we have implemented CBC very well. In fact, our school, the KBA school, this last Kenya Music Festival, we won trophies at the national level on the basis of CBC. Okay. You know, trophies offered like that. We have been invited our children are invited several times by the KICD to go and recite choral verses on CBC. We have implemented very well. And I tell you, I'm very happy with the outcome. The children we are raising today, if this CBC was nurtured very well to the end, they will turn out better than we did. They will turn out better. Why? Because, the previous systems was training people, preparing them for employment. So if anybody who hits top grade, they want to go and do a degree in engineering or in medicine or in, so that they can get the best jobs. But CBC is helping us to identify the talents of each children and to nurture these talents. And in the KBA school, I can tell you, on Saturday morning at 9 a.m., every Saturday, one of our pupils is hosting a program in the leading national TV in Kenya.
Okay.
Young Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
A child we have developed. We identified her talent. She's doing very well. I can tell you that girl will go far. Recently, last year, one of our students, Tessis Chebet, because we have a chess academy, we started a chess academy here even before CBC came. All children from grade 1 to grade 6. Then it was standard 1 to standard 6. All children go through chess, because what we had in mind is that 844 was very much book cramming. We want to train our children to think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in chess, before you take a step, you think. So, and we've done very well. The KBA school has been the top chess academy school in Kenya in the primary school section. And one of our top stars who has represented Kenya in many from KBA school was spotted and was given a Fulbright scholar to study in the US, in Pennsylvania, in a school in the US. And another one is going.
Yeah.
So we have nurtured, so we nurture them on music, we nurture them on chess, and we also have other things like taekwondo and so forth. So even before 844 system came, we in the KBA school had begun to see, because the employment situation in Kenya and the world is becoming shaky, why don't we identify the skills? And that's what CBC is doing. And for me, my disappointment is that the way the government would communicate a CBC, it's like it's a very lax program. Here in the KBA school, we said, either way, there will be somebody who will be admitted to Harvard University. There will be somebody who will be admitted to do medicine, and there aren't enough vacancies or slots in our universities. So, therefore, we still offer competitive. And by the way, for a top performer in academics, from grade 1 all the way, every term, the board offers free tuition. We want them to compete. So even in the concept of CBC, we have still offered a competitive environment. I am disappointed that the government was thinking that, and they have communicated that we don't have to say who has performed where, which school has done well. There has been so much debate, and it's like you are saying, we don't want competition.
Yeah.
Yet, I've just said, the universities abroad, the schools who are offering foreign-based exams, they are publishing, and parents are now enticed to go. So my belief is that CBC is good, but the way it is communicated, the way it is being implemented, and I'm very disappointed right now with the way the Minister of Education is structuring the transition to senior school. They have not prepared very well the senior schools. I'm sure in Kenya we are last minute people. Eventually we'll get it.
Yeah.
And I pray that the education leaders really don't renege on CBC. It's a good thing that we would like to see implemented all the way. 844 was also good. By the way, the 844 which was implemented is not the 844 that was originally designed. But along the way, there was a laxity, as we are now seeing. There is laxity Because if we are talking today and primary schools have not received their capitation or their money, CBC requires some investment. So I think the government needs to be a bit more serious. CBC is a good thing. We must get to, and parents and pupils don't mind competition. We must get to a point of knowing that the few opportunities which are there to study engineering, to study medicine, those few opportunities, who is going to go there? How are they going to pick the children who are going to do engineering, except that somebody has demonstrated through performance from an early age that they have that capability? How are the top universities in the world gonna pick children from Kenya, except that
It's competition.
So that idea, which was brought by some people, I don't believe in it. I don't think there is anything negative about encouraging excellence. Excellence in the KBA school, we want to see excellence. Excellence in academics, excellence in chess, excellence in music, excellent in what we do. And that way, it's not that to say that those children who are at the bottom don't know anything. They know something. Let's get them. What do they know? Can they become excellent in that? So for me, CBC is the best idea that could happen.
Okay.
The private schools are implementing it well. We are implementing well at the KBA school. And part of the reason now we are going to start a senior school is that now we are not quite sure into the future whether the so-called very good national schools or schools where parents want to take their children, they have it, what it takes. So I think there is an opportunity now for private schools like the KBA school who want excellence all the way. We now have to go all the way. And maybe that is good for the country, that is good for the future. And I would encourage, if I were in leadership in education, I think the education ministry, we need at the top there educationists, people who understand. I'm not sure at the moment we have the right people.
Okay.
Because they are not sending the right signals. If you're opening school and the schools don't have money, you're still checking who should have what. And even when you said money, you don't said enough. Today, one of the worst jobs you can have in Kenya is to be the principal of a day school.
Oh my goodness.
Because when you're principal of a day school, at least in a boarding school, there is money that parents pay for boarding. So the principal can discuss with the parents and say, okay, let us add this so that we can run the school. But we have a free day secondary school in Kenya. So any principal trying to ask for any money from a day school is easily seen, and even the parents are not willing to pay. They say education is free.
It's free.
Yet, you have to run a school. So government should be a little more serious to support the education of our children, because Kenya is known as one of the places where we have a high trained manpower. Is our competitive advantage because our education has been very good. Even children who don't do very well, they don't get top grades in Kenya. They go to America and other places, and you hear them getting scholarships because our education system has been good. We must not lose that competitive advantage of human resource development through our education system.
Thank you, Daktari, for that. And it's amazing to learn. And by the grace of God, God has given us a very big audience. We'll make sure this message reaches to those relevant people to get how important this implementation of the CBC is at the way it was crafted, the way you've said that it was. We'll make sure that it gets there. It will get there.
Wonderful.
We post our videos, we get 1 million views.
Wow.
I was looking at 1 million views. 1 million views. A stadium is 35,000 people.
Yes.
3 stadiums is 100,000.
Yes.
Times 10. That is the kind of audience
Wow.
sometimes we reach.
Wow. Well done.
We post videos, they go to 700,000. We have one at 1 million. We have another one at 975,000. And we have a following of 40,000 and growing.
Well
That
done.
is very, especially on TikTok. And this is the main platform that we are pushing this thing, even as guys come to watch us on YouTube. Now, as we finalize, we've talked about the good, we've talked about the business aspect of it. What are the challenges that you have faced personally as a leader, and what would you encourage other people who are coming up? I have tried to model my leadership style after you, and I've tried to observe how you solve problems, how you lead your people, and that privilege of sitting in the same board gives me one of the things that God has given me is I'm a very observant person. I know how to read the room, and I've been able to pick up quite some things about leadership and management and all those things from the solutions that we sought from the problems that we face sometimes when we sit in a board meeting. So what encouragement would you, what are the challenges that you have faced as a leader, and how would you encourage someone who is a budding leader or an upcoming leader on what to check out for, and how to continue in leadership and become a leader that is as successful as you are?
I am very uncomfortable with mediocrity. When I work with people who sometimes even after, we are working together and we want to move in a certain direction, but you keep hearing people who wants to, things that you have overcome, they want to draw back. So I'm very uncomfortable with mediocrity, and that discomfort in mediocrity, even in our national leadership. Sometimes, I'm a healthcare practitioner. I see the way the healthcare system has been in Kenya, to a point where many Kenyans eventually want to go to India because they have a health problem. I know that we have very brilliant doctors and nurses and healthcare people, but we don't have the proper, our healthcare system just doesn't work because of poor leadership. So I get very uncomfortable with that. And sometimes, I've even tried my hand in politics, wondering, how we need to fix this. I want to fix something. So as a leader, I feel uncomfortable, but eventually you get to understand that the people who are where they are where they are. You don't know how they came there, but they are there. So you have to respect them. You have to work with them. Where I'm a leader, like now in the KBA school, I am able to fashion the kind of leadership that I would like to see with people who report to me and all the way down, and I work with them to empower them. But when it gets to a point where I realize that this guy may not take us where we want, how to then make a decision on what to do with them, because I don't like crushing people. I like lifting people. So sometimes it can take a bit of time before we can be able to take a decision on somebody. Because even when my managers come and they are telling me about a person, I'm asking, have you helped them? Have you given them an improvement plan? Are you monitoring that improvement? Sometimes I then see, even when we agree that we need to give this person a time, somebody has already made up their mind that this person should go. I don't like that. Okay. Yes, a time comes. And for me, I believe somebody should see the writing on the wall. When it comes to making hard decisions, I make hard decisions. But before I make hard decision, I want you to see that what you're doing will not take us anywhere, or rather, it will not take us where we want. Yet, the soft part of me is telling me this person was created in God's image and they deserve something.
Oh.
So, what I would say is that the challenges of managing people and managing mediocrity, because you know where you want to go, you have to communicate very strongly and clearly. A time comes when you have to say, this is the direction we are going. And people need to see you are serious. When they see you are serious, they either shape up or ship out. Otherwise, the institution may not reach its goal. When it comes to the national situation in our nation, I feel very sad to see that we have a country that can do better. It's not that we have a shortage of people who can actually help our nation to do better. But somehow that really makes me very uncomfortable. And sometimes I don't know what to do. So that eventually, at some point, you get to a point and say, let me do what I can where I am. Okay. After all, God has entrusted me with what I have, where I am. That other thing that I can see can be better, let it be. I have come to a point of telling God, God, you know, this is your world.
Yeah.
These are your people. Help me to change the situation where I am. And I'm very committed to making the KBA School the top or the best Christian school in Kenya. I'm committed to keeping the KBA School brand high. Right now, here in Kahawa West, we have 2 campuses. I am convinced and I know if you open the 3rd campus,
it will be full.
It will be full because we have created a good name. And in business, you need to create brand. Once you have created a good brand, you can always add other things. And but to get there, sometimes you have to take tough decision. Sometimes you have to look at even colleagues and just listen to them and don't listen to them.
That is amazing. Actually, KBA is a big brand. The other day, I'm saying this because Cooperative Bank branch manager of Reru is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
So he told me he's transitioning to Buruburu, and he brought me the new manager, the incoming manager.
Okay.
And I sat with him and we talked about the organization that I work for.
Okay.
And then he mentioned, the outgoing manager mentioned that this guy comes from KBA. You know, they know KBA.
Okay.
He comes from KBA. Then apparently that manager is the same manager who was here in Zimmerman in our branch.
Oh.
So he was very happy.
Yes.
He told me he knows you. He mentioned Francis. He mentioned all those kind of guys.
Yes.
So the school has a very good name. And I can say this because we are based in Ruiru, and every time I mention KBA, guys know about it. And like you have said, even if you opened another campus, it will be full.
Yes.
It will have a waiting list. One of the things that I'm glad about fashioning our model after yours is that we also have a waiting list right now.
Wonderful. Well done.
We have, I can tell you, if we had more classes, we would have, we have a waiting list of 30 and growing. And people have started looking at Project Lucas as a school. And all this is because of the interactions I've had with you guys. I usually tell people you are the sum total of the 5 people you work with.
Correct.
You better make sure that those 5 people are worth working with and they can push you somewhere else. So thank you very much, Chairman of KBA Group of Schools. I would also like to host you another time and we talk about leadership and all these things. You have quite a lot to give to us. We are still going to run the videos on what KBA School looks like so that you might as well see with your own eyes that it's not a small school. It's a big brand. And it never started like that. Where it is by the grace of God, good leadership, and just having that great discipline and commitment. So thank you so much. For those of us who have liked this conversation, we'd encourage you to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about these conversations. We are going to bring a lot more. We want to talk about professionals in different industries. We want to learn a lot about business and all these things. So we'd encourage you to share this message. We'd encourage you to like. We'd encourage you to subscribe. And all this we do for the glory and honor of God the Almighty. Thank you and God bless you. God bless you, Daktari.
Bless you too.
Yeah.
Thank